Hello everyone, welcome back to iRacing and something a little bit different today. I'm going to be driving the Spec Racer Ford. Now I've not raced this car for a long time and I've never featured it on the channel, so I'm really looking forward to this 19 lap blast around Watkins Glen. Now it's a smaller field for this one, only 11 on the grid, and we're going to be starting from 5th with a qualifying time of 1:21.5. That's nearly 1 second slower than the pole position man Ufuk Atak, but we're only 1/10 off the driver in 3rd, Alvaro Gallardo, so we could be on for a podium finish here if we play our cards right. It's quite a quirky car, this one, a bit of a handful, so the main goal has got to be keeping it facing in the right direction. If we do that, we should get a good result. Let's get down to the grid as the lights go green and we're underway at Watkins Glen. And we got a really good start there, a much better launch than any of the cars behind. That's going to allow us to move over safely to the racing line. That'll give us a better run through T1. It's going to be clean by the looks of it. We're quite spread out. That's one of the benefits of having a smaller grid with only 11 cars. There's far less chance of carnage in T1, and it looks like all 11 drivers have got through that first corner safely. So as we work our way up through the S's for the first time, we're holding on to our starting position of 5th. Out front, the pole position man Ufuk Atak is leading the way, but he's going to face a challenge down this straight from Wojtek Filipiak. Meanwhile, we're going to move to the inside of the #1 car, Jeffrey Eli. We picked up a little bit of a tow through those S's. We're carrying more speed than Eli. Have we got enough to pull alongside him? We're not quite alongside. Eli's going to leave us space on the inside, but we haven't quite got the pace to make it count. So Eli's going to hold on to that 4th position. We're still in 5th. There are cars all over the place. In front, 4 cars all taking different lines as we approach the end of lap 1 here at Watkins Glen. And already the field is starting to split up into 2 distinct packs. We've got the leading pack, which I'm desperately trying to keep up with, and then we've got the secondary group of cars behind. That's headed by the driver in 6th, Dri Scala, but they're more than a second back. So this is a crucial part of the race as we start lap 2. This is where we need to establish ourselves as part of the leading pack and not that group behind. To do that, it's absolutely vital that we stay right on the tail of Jeffrey Eli here. That tow is going to be crucial to help us stick with these faster guys. If we start to lose ground, the chances are we'll get reeled in by those cars behind. At the moment, we're looking good and we're closing right in on Eli. We might even have to lift off the gas slightly. There's a little bit of contact in front. It looked like the driver in 2nd, Gallardo, just got a little bit too close to the race leader. They both managed to hold on to it though, thankfully. Look at Eli on the right. He's trying to force his way up the inside of Gallardo. Things getting really tight here. I might just hang back a little bit, and that's exactly why I did. Gallardo tags Attack for the 2nd time, and this time the leader is out of the race. Well, it was almost inevitable, wasn't it, an instant like that, given how closely these guys were battling. Here's a replay of the first hit. Now watch Gallardo in that multicoloured car. He just gets too close to the race leader, Ufuk Atak, and gives him a proper nudge up the rear end. Meanwhile, look at Jeffrey Eli on the left of the screen. He's out on the grass trying to get past Gallardo. It was at that point I decided to ease off, and I was glad I did when Gallardo runs into the back of Attack for the 2nd time, this time pushing the race leader into the barrier. And there's the confirmation from crew chief. The race leader, Ufuk Atak, is being towed to the pits. So clearly he's picked up some damage in that hit from Gallardo. And that's really disappointing for Atak. He must be feeling so frustrated at the moment, leading the race, and he gets hit from behind. Not once, but twice on the same straight from Gallardo. And maybe I should take that as a bit of a warning too. If I do close in on Gallardo, I might need to give him a bit more room, although it doesn't matter now because Gallardo has missed his braking point into T1. He runs wide, we tuck it up the inside, and that puts us up into 3rd position. Yeah, just as I was starting to worry about getting drawn into a close quarters battle with Gallardo, he completely misses his braking point into T1, almost runs into the back of Eli too. Returning to the live action midway through lap 5, and the front 3 have made a break for it. There's now a gap of more than 4 seconds back to the drivers in 4th and 5th. Now I'm including myself in the front 3 group. I may not be right on the tail of Jeffrey Eli, but I am within striking distance, just 0.9 of a second off Eli at the moment. Meanwhile, in front of him is the race leader, Wojciech Filipiak, and he is just 0.4 of a second in front of Eli. So I'm hoping that these two will start battling with each other. It'll slow them down and it'll help me get a little bit closer. We've already seen the extra speed that's on offer if you can get a tow. So we may yet be able to fight for this race victory, but we've got to get there first. And as we enter T1, Filipiak has spun. Filipiak has gone. He's crashed out of the race lead. Jeffrey Eli now out in front and we're up to second. Yeah, turn one catching a lot of drivers out. Filipiak ran in way too hot. He's lost the rear even before he's made the apex there. Starting lap 7 then, and we are in a really strong position now. Second place behind Jeffrey Eli, about 0.7 of a second back. And look at the distance back to Gallardo in third. He's 4.9 seconds behind. So we're in a really comfortable position and we can concentrate on trying to close that gap down to Eli in front. Are we close enough to pick up a tow? It's 0.6 of a second as we come up over the hill. And this is the part of the circuit where the draft really does give you an advantage, to a lesser extent on the start-finish straight as well. But this long back straight here is where the extra speed really counts. Look how much we're gaining on Eli now. That 0.6 of a second gap has been wiped out. We're not quite close enough to make a move up the inside through the outer loop. So we are just going to back off and tuck back in behind Eli. But that was really encouraging. So what we need to do now is try to get a little bit closer to Eli through the S's on the next lap. 0.6 of a second was the gap last time and we wiped that out down the straight. So if we can just get to within 0.3 of a second, we should be in a position to attack for the lead of this race. Well, that might be easier said than done, because it looks like Eli is a little bit stronger through this section of the track. He's eked out an extra 10th or 2 over me there. So what's the gap as we cross the line to start lap 8? It's 0.5 of a second, so pretty similar to how it was a lap ago. We're not quite close enough at the moment, so a good run through T1 is essential here. But we've got a crash back marker to deal with. That's not going to help things. Eli moves to the left, we'll go to the right. We both get around Ufuk attack. Now Eli had less time to react than I did and swerved a bit more aggressively because of it. That might have cost him some speed, and we're a lot closer as we come up through the S's. In fact, we're almost in the position to pull alongside Eli here. I'd prefer to be on the inside if I'm honest, but beggars can't be choosers. We've got the pace on Eli. We're going to challenge for the lead of this race. We're too wide coming down the long back straight. Eli occupying the defensive line. To make this pass, we're going to have a full car lengths advantage into this turn, and I don't think we've got it. We haven't. Well, we gave it our best shot there, but the odds were always against us being on the outside line. Hopefully on the next lap, if we can be in the same position to strike again, we'll be able to tuck it up the inside. That'll give us much more of a chance to take that lead. Meanwhile, we're putting Eli under all sorts of pressure. He closed off the inside line into this penultimate turn, but this race is really heating up now. Well, Ufuk Attack's race has just gone from bad to worse. We saw him get punted out of the lead on lap 2. He went to the pits for repairs, came back out, but made a right mess of T1 there, right in front of us as we come through. Eli moves one way, I go the other way. We both get around him. And it looked like I carried a bit more speed while making that pass, and I tried to make it count at the top of the hill. Eli takes the defensive line, so we go wide. At this point, we're side by side. I know I'm carrying a little bit more speed, but unfortunately, I'm only half a car length ahead. It's not enough to make the pass into the outer loop. We can't get to the apex first, so we have to tuck back in behind Eli and try again. Well, unfortunately, on the next lap, we weren't quite as close to Eli. That gap back up to 0.6 of a second. Now, I know I'm going to gain with the benefits of that tow, but look in my rearview mirror, I've also got the back marker Attack getting a tow of his own. Now, I'm really hoping that Attack doesn't want to try and unlap himself here. We know he's quick. He was the pole position man. He was leading this race in the early stages, so he's the fastest driver on track. But is he going to try and get in between me and Eli here? The last thing I want to do is start driving defensively to try and stop a back marker from unlapping himself. But look in the rearview mirror, Attack is going to try and make a move up the inside. But I'm going to have to let him go. So Attack has got himself in between me and Eli. That is going to cost us big time. Yeah, it's completely blown the battle for the lead of this race. What was a 0.6 of a second advantage for Eli is now 1.6 seconds. Eli has benefited by 1 whole second. And all I can hope for now is that Attack closes in on Eli and tries a similar move that slows him down. Oh, but Attack gets it all wrong into T1 and he's gone. Well, there goes my hopes of attack, closing in on Eli and slowing him down. What a disaster. And how frustrating too. I was having such a good battle for the lead of this race, and that's been blown apart by a backmarker. Really disappointing. Yeah, look, I can't grumble too much. I knew that Attack was the faster driver. That's even without a tow. But when he picks up a draft here, it was always inevitable that he was going to try and make a move to unlap himself. He makes a move up the inside. Like I said at the time, the last thing I want to do is get involved in a battle trying to defend the position against the backmarker. So I let him go by in the hope that he might catch Eli and slow Eli down. But that hope lasted about 2 corners. And as a result, I find myself now nearly 2 seconds off the lead. And by lap 13, that 2-second advantage had become a 3.5-second advantage for the leader, Jeffrey Eli. Without the draft, I was powerless to stick with him. So at this point, I've decided I'm not going to push beyond my capabilities just to try and close that gap back down. I'm in a good second position, a comfortable second position. Look at the gap back to the driver in third, Dre Scala. He's nearly 12 seconds behind. So for me, these final 6 laps are all about keeping it safe and steady and consolidating this second position, which would be a great result. But suddenly, it's going to get better because look in front, the race leader, Jeffrey Eli, has crashed at T1. And all of a sudden, we're leading it. And what a catastrophic mistake this is from Jeffrey Eli, leading the race under no pressure at all. He's 3.5 seconds clear and he loses the rear into T1. And I can't believe my luck. I just settled for second position and then this happens and I'm leading the race. And you might have seen at the end of that replay clip, Eli made a complete mess of his rejoin too. That gave me a 12-second advantage that I was able to maintain over the final few laps to cross the line and take a rare victory. A plus 68 on the iRating too. That takes us within touching distance of a 1.6k rating and even a safety rating boost as well. A flawless 0x race. Right, let's check out what else went down in this race. There were a lot of incidents, and this was the first of them. Gallardo just getting a bit too close to the race leader Attack. We saw that earlier in the race. There's the punt which sent Attack into the barrier, and then right behind Attack, we see the number 11, David Peterson, lose it as well. He's just about saved it without picking up any damage there, but then reverses into the barrier, and that clearly gave him a bit of damage because look how this car is swaying on the next lap. He's unable to hold that into T1 and spins out. And then after this, incredibly, every incident in the race happened at turn 1. This is Filipiak crashing out. That's what gave us 1 position back. And then on the very next lap, Filipiak makes exactly the same mistake again, losing the rear for a second time. And then a couple of laps later, oh, I don't want to see this one again. This is Attack losing it right in front of me just after he'd unlapped himself. At that point, I thought my challenge for the race lead was over. But thankfully for me, Jeffrey Eli became the latest victim of T1 and threw away the lead. And still the crashes keep on coming. This is the number 8, Dre Scala, getting it all wrong. He's going back up pit lane the wrong way. Then we see Alvaro Gallardo getting it wrong at T1. Everybody in this race has crashed at T1 except for me. This is the number 7, David Aragon, losing it too. So yeah, I clearly wasn't the fastest driver on the track, but I was the only one not to crash, and as a result, we topped the podium, a first place in iRacing. Now that doesn't happen very often. And even my fastest lap compares pretty favourably to all the drivers around me, a 1:20.8. Now there's only 2 drivers who went quicker. That's Gallardo down in 7th position and then Attack in 8th. But they both crashed, I didn't, and I take the win. So after such a successful first outing in the Spec Racer Ford, I'd be foolish not to race this one again before the end of the season. But as for today, the lesson learned, it ain't over till it's over. Thanks for watching.